I haven't really seen any movies lately. I could talk about Stan Brackage, but I already did that before, and I mean I saw this 23rd Psalm branch quite recently. Okay, let me talk about so I saw the new Avengers movie, Avengers Infinity War. My history with the Avengers films, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that I have seen all of them, and I remember seeing the first Iron Man in the theaters when I was in middle school. And I do remember kind of the experience of when the Avengers finally kind of came together with the separate movies and being part of the kind of cultural event it was when the first Avengers film came out. Not just as a moviegoer, but as a kid with classmates and friends in the school of people who, while may not be kind of very openly comic book friendly, they easily picked up into the whole Marvel thing in terms of films. It kind of transcended this idea of comic book nerd. Where the idea of the comic book nerd kind of became just the mainstream public, which is kind of a bizarre thing, I think, to think about. So I know I was in that whole kind of thrust of it all back in 2012 when the first Avengers film came out. And it's crazy to think that, 6 years later, not only do we have, this is like the third Avengers movie, but we've had, I think 19, this was the 19th Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, 19th it started in 2008, 19th in, 9 years, is it 9 years? Something like that, 10 years. They've had two a year every single year. And it's kind of been oversaturating the market in a way that has yielded a lot of decreasing marginal returns for me. Not to kind of go into this whole idea of marginality of returns, which is very much kind of an economic idea, but the idea that every time you consume something, the idea is that the more you consume something, the more less you kind of enjoy it. So you might enjoy your first bite of the cake, your birthday cake. You enjoy the first bite, you enjoy the second bite. By the 10th bite, you're kind of full, and you're not feeling it, and you're feeling kind of satiated, and it's slightly making you feel sick. And after the 20th bite, you want to throw up. So in some sense, it's not just decreasing marginal returns, but it falls into the opposite direction, and things become kind of detrimental to you. And actually, I'm gonna bring it up. Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm actually kind of interested because I have seen all of them. I'm kind of look at where was the point where I got sick of them. So let's see, Iron Man up to the first Avengers, I was still kind of into it. Actually, yeah, I was still into it. Maybe Iron Man. So maybe after the first Avengers movie, I started getting a bit sick of them. So I guess that's 1, 2, 3. That's 6 movies in. That's still a lot. 6 movies in, and I started getting tired. Iron Man 3 was kind of a drag, I think. Thor: The Dark World was the one that was directed by like some guy who I think directed a few episodes of, what was it? Game of Thrones, I think. Alan Taylor. I'm not sure. It was okay. Winter Soldier, I was not a big fan of. I know everyone loved it. I was kind of okay with it. Guardians of the Galaxy was fun. Age of Ultron, I hated that one. I thought it was so long. I fell asleep while watching it. So I guess up to Guardians of the Galaxy, I had quite some fun. Ant-Man, I thought was very boring. I saw it thrice because I had different groups of friends who wanted to see it, and I had seen it with family. I ended up seeing Ant-Man thrice, and I disliked it, I didn't dislike it more. Each time I kind of disliked it consistently, Civil War, I thought it was meh. So yeah, I guess I stopped enjoying them after perhaps I'd say Avengers, and then it peaked. It was a little bit I enjoyed a bit of it after Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a fun movie, but I didn't like anything else after that. Doctor Strange was I saw it on the plane. It was okay. So as someone who, personally, I'm someone who consumes a lot of different varieties of media and all this stuff. Not even just media. Media, I feel like, is such a denigrating term, but just different kinds of art, right? And um, I have become kind of sick of the Avengers movies, of these Marvel movies, because I think they're unlike DC, which DC you can give DC a lot of shit, because they may be too over serious and to some extent they're kind of boring. But I think what I like about DC is that there is a sense of kind of experimentation and kind of trying to do something that may not appeal to the widest amount of audiences, and trying to just be it's like an attempt towards insulation. I don't know, but like they make these things that are to some degree story wise kind of a bit of a jump of sorts. It's a bit harder to take in, and with more interesting themes. I think Marvel is just so safe. They're so it's like the epitome of the popcorn film. I think. I mean, not that DC's movies are any better, but I think a lot of these Marvel films have just become so much of empty calories for me, and I feel like as I've gotten older and I've seen more and more films, and I've learned to kind of cut down my junk food diet, I guess, and Black Panther, it was okay, Thor Ragnarok, it was funny, Spider-Man Homecoming, it was inoffensive, so I don't hate them, I guess. Anyway, so I guess it's almost 6.5. Avengers Infinity War. So I saw Infinity War over whatever one was the last weekend or something, and I get the hype and the appeal behind it, in which you kind of have this meeting of the different kind of clans of films. You get the Guardians, and you get the Doctor Strange, and you get the Black Panther, and then they meet up with the Avengers, and then they all have one big massive superhero orgy or whatever. I mean, you kind of already had that with Captain America Civil War, to be honest. I don't know what anyway, so and things, I like to try to think of films in a way that I don't necessarily attach objective qualities to. I don't want to say a movie's good or bad or whatever, but I can't kind of I can't separate what I feel from the movie and my experience of it, and just more or less, I was kind of bored throughout the film, because I was bored by a sense of kind of inevitability of results, and inevitability of just the way the function of the action sequence goes, and the function of the lack or maybe lack thereof of character development, because there's so many characters, and just the very patchwork way in which the film is kind of put together. Not that it was bad, but it wasn't it didn't keep me entertained for a long period of time, because I was kind of so much aware of the structure of it all, and the things behind the scenes, and understanding why things happen. The more you're familiar with this stuff, the less engaging it can be, in my experience. But I understand why there's a big hype of it. I understand if I was a kid watching. If I was as a kid, if I was already kind of, blown away with my friends in my school about the Avengers movie, the first one where they had Thor, Captain America, whatever, Hulk, and Iron Man all come together from separate movies. With this new Avengers movie where you have so many different movies, it must be some kind of, I'm sure for many people it was like cinematic ecstasy. They were so in love. They were so glad to have been able to kind of witness this majestic meeting and of sorts, and for many people this is what kind of drives their the way they frame their day-to-day lives. Everyone puts kind of time markers for when they will be able to kind of experience these kind of ecstatic and euphoric experiences, and for many people, for those in the population, a lot of them kind of hang on to superhero movies as a kind of time marker to progress their to structure their euphoric moments, and they know that this Avengers thing where all the people kind of lining up together is gonna be a fun moment, and they give themselves the opportunity to enjoy that and have fun, and good for those people. Unfortunately, I am kind of sick of these movies, and I'll see the rest, but I'm not looking forward to them.